You remind people of who they are, which is divinity. Just by you being embodied and in alignment with your soul, with your divinity, and walking through the world in your truth, you are reminding people who they are without needing to even utter a word to them. It's in the essence, in the core of your being, in your energy, in your aura. It's seeping out of you. This divinity is literally seeping out of you, that others have no choice but to feel it, right? But they may not label it as divinity. They may not be around you and feel it and be like, oh, that's divinity right there. Especially for people who are incredibly lost in the ego. For people who have not done all of this inner work that you have done and gone through. Breaking down these limiting beliefs and paradigms and worlds that you created in your own mind to protect yourself. Not everyone has done that work. And so to them, while yes, a piece of them recognizes your divinity and it sparks life into their own divinity in their heart, there's a piece of them that feels it. But their external personality, their conscious personality, it may trigger them incredibly. Your presence alone may trigger people because of this, because you are reflecting back to them that they're trapped, they're stuck in the ego, they're stuck in their darkness. And this is not this doesn't mean that you're good and they're bad. This is a dualistic world that we live in. We live in the third dimensional, going to the fifth dimensional. It's still duality. And so people who are in the ego are necessary in this world. So you may trigger people because of this, but it's not your responsibility to try to prove anything to them or try to teach them or show them. Your job has been done. The moment you come in contact with somebody and you trigger something within them that you're not even going to probably see, they may not consciously notice it's been triggered, but on a deep, deep, deep soul, cellular level, something has been woken up within them just by coming into contact with your energy. And it's going to grow. That seed has been planted and it's going to grow. We just must not control or try to control the process of how quickly these seeds grow in others. That is a quick way to be in a state of suffering in the world. We must accept people for where they are on this journey and remember that you were once where they are now on this journey at some point in time. All of us were lost in the ego, lost in our darkness, trapped in the underbelly of our soul. The yin and the yang, there's light and there's dark. We have both. And it can be interpreted in so many different ways, but for the sake of this video, the light is your divinity and the darkness is the ego. Just for the purpose of this video, it can be so many different things. And so there are people who are stuck in the underbelly. And all you must do is hold compassion and love for these people because we were once there. We were once trapped in the underbelly of our own soul. So who better to understand where they are than us? Who better to hold compassion for them on this journey than us? When you were in that phase, when you were in that part of your journey, and people tried to yank you out of it, controlling you, telling you what you should be doing, how you should be feeling, what you should be thinking, how you should be acting, it didn't work. It didn't feel good. It didn't make you want to listen to them. If anything, it made you want to rebel more. It made you want to lash out more. So the only thing that is necessary for us who are holding the light, who are bearers of the light, is to hold compassion and understanding and forgiveness for those who are stuck currently in the underbelly of their own soul. We do not need to fix them. We do not need to change them. That is not our job, right? And so this is a deep level of responsibility to hold in this physical reality. A deep responsibility to not interfere with free will, which is a universal law. We must not interfere with their free will. They are choosing to be there. Now, if someone asks you what you think, or asks you for advice, or asks you about your journey, oh my gosh, yes, go for it. I would recommend to first ask God what they need to hear. Your ego may think, oh, well, this is what they need to hear. Let me tell them what my mind thinks they need to hear. But truly, if you truly love and care for them and want the best for them, you would connect into your heart and you would connect to God through unconditional love and ask God what they need. Ask God what they need to hear, not what you think they need to hear. And this is the responsibility we hold, is to be aware of when we are operating from a place of ego or truly operating from our divinity. And it can be challenging. Our ego is not bad. Our ego is not bad. Our ego is just keeping us safe, keeping us contained, and trying to keep reality the same. Because it knows once time ends, which time doesn't exist, so it exists and it doesn't exist. I'm not getting into that, but once everything collapses and we fold back in to ourselves and become one again, the ego ceases to exist, right? So it's really just trying to protect its own existence by doing what it thinks is necessary to keep this reality alive. But when we wake up to our divinity, when we wake up to the truth of who we are, which is oneness, wholeness with God, it is now our responsibility to become aware of when we're acting out of fear, when we're acting out of ego. Fear of death is not us. The fear of death is not, it feels incredibly real, it feels like us, but the real us knows that death is not real. Knows that it's an illusion, and that no matter which side of the veil we're on, we're safe. We're okay. Whether we're in this physical form or an energetic form on the other side, we're still there. We don't go anywhere. It just looks to the ego like we have. And so I feel like I went off on a tangent. The point is that it is our responsibility as the keepers of light to uphold the sacredness of our and everyone else's divinity by respecting free will and not acting upon what our ego thinks we need to do to keep everything and everyone alive and safe, but acting from a space of unconditional love and pure awareness and intentions from God in every now moment, becoming so aware of each action and word and step we take that we know what our ego wants to do, and we also know what the divine is asking us to do. And it is our responsibility to follow through always on what the divine is asking us to do. which of course is another funny thing because we are still human, and so we will not ever always act upon what the divine is asking of us and ignore our ego while we're still in these physical bodies. And that is where forgiveness comes in, which is the most challenging part of all, is forgiving ourselves when we step out of line. Forgiving ourselves when we act in ways that don't uphold the deep respect that it is now our responsibility to uphold for God and for the universal laws and for everyone and everything around us, the respect for life, right? I think this world was created in a way to show us how to forgive, to show us how to be not perfect and how to forgive ourselves for not being perfect. Because outside of this, when we are truly one with God, we are perfect, we are whole, we are complete. We are one with God, we are God. And I view this reality as like, not even a test, just like a playground where we come to create and make mistakes, right? Because we can't make mistakes when we're home with God. It's just impossible. But here, because we've created duality now, it's possible for us to make mistakes because there's yin and yang, good and bad, light and dark. And so now we can come play and make mistakes and learn how to learn from our mistakes and how to forgive our mistakes and how to forgive other people's mistakes. Because at the end of the day, I don't know. I was going to say at the end of the day, none of this is real, which is true, but we have to respect the illusion that it feels real. We don't want to be dissociating and spiritually bypassing, but we can hold that knowing that none of it is real while we respect the fact that it feels real and respect our emotions. Like, okay, for example, earlier today, my cat brought in a lizard and she punctured its side, and I picked it up and I gave it a safe space to recover. And I looked up if it could eat fruit. And so, yes, I chopped up apples really tiny and I took care of it while holding and knowing a part of me. And I kept telling this lizard, you're going to be okay no matter what. Whether you live or die, you're safe. Whether you live or die, you're safe. But I was simultaneously like sobbing, truly sobbing, watching this lizard go through pain, like it was bleeding and breathing rapidly. And I could tell this lizard was in pain. And I just started crying. And I probably sat with it and cried for like 10 minutes while simultaneously holding the knowing that whether this lizard lived or died, it would be safe. It would be okay. It would either come back and get to live in the 3D reality and have a longer lizard life, or it would end up passing on from this puncture wound. And it would go to the other side and be home with God and look back on this experience as a lizard and be like, wow, that was kind of weird. That was kind of fun experiencing being a lizard. But now I'm not a lizard anymore. What do I want to do next? What do I want to experience next? And just understanding that when we die, we don't really die. We just transform. And it's completely up to our own desire of what we want to transform into, or our own beliefs of what will be there when we die. And I could have picked the lizard up and been like, you're fine. This isn't real. Anyways, this isn't real. You're not actually injured. Because this is a fake reality. I could have done that, but that would have not been respectful of the experience that this lizard was having, which was that this lizard was bleeding and this lizard was in pain and this lizard was scared. And I felt those things, and I chose to comfort this lizard, because if I was in pain, I wouldn't want to be alone, shoved in some plant by some random lady. I would want to feel safe, and I would want to feel comforted. And so that's what I did for this lizard. I respected its experience while simultaneously holding the knowing that no matter what happened to it, it was safe. And it was going to go on and experience wonderful things, whether in a lizard body or not. And so that's what I think I'm trying to get at, is just having this responsibility to uphold the utmost respect for life while simultaneously upholding the truth, the capital T truth of God. Upholding both simultaneously, which is an incredibly challenging job. It's so easy to get lost in this world, and I could have gone the other way. Instead of saying, oh, lizard, you're gonna be fine, this isn't real, I could have just cried uncontrollably and held like the deepest of sorrows in my chest because this lizard was dying, and it means that this lizard's life is ending and death is so final, which is getting lost in the human journey, right? So there's going too far into getting lost in the human journey of it all, which is death is final, this lizard's life is over, and there's this intense sorrow because it's going to exist no more. And getting lost in that grief. That's one end of the spectrum, or the other extreme end of the spectrum is the spiritual end of nothing is real anyways, so who cares? I'm not going to feel grief or sadness because they're not real. But there is a happy medium in the middle where you say, wow, this experience is happening in front of me, and this lizard's experience of pain and confusion is so real for this lizard right now. I want to comfort this lizard, and I want to take care of this lizard while simultaneously knowing that it is safe no matter what happens, whether it lives or dies as a lizard. The essence of the lizard is safe no matter what, is safe to go through this experience of death or through this experience of healing. It's safe in both extremes. So being able to hold both is the happy medium and is the deepest honor of my lifetime, to be shown and to be trusted to hold. And so because I am so honored that I am being trusted to hold both truths, both knowings, it is my responsibility. It has become a responsibility because it doesn't feel like a responsibility because I feel so honored. So of course I will uphold the integrity of this because I am so honored to have been chosen to know both sides, to understand both sides. I really don't know what just came out of me, but yeah. That's how I know, by the way, that I've surrendered and just let it flow out, is when I have no clue what I just said. I'm like, okay, I channeled that, I think. No, I'm just kidding. If I don't remember what I just said, then I know, okay, I channeled that, and my intention was to channel from source consciousness, from God. But whenever I overthink and get in my head and try to control what I'm saying, then I know I'm talking from my ego. Which happens, even like throughout this video, I probably got stuck and started talking from my ego and had to redirect myself back to channeling from God. So it's learning. I'm learning how to do all of this, but it's fun and I enjoy it. I like making videos like this, so thanks for listening. And till next time, goodbye.